Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Critting Your Role, an actor's guide to role playing your character better. Today, I want to talk about pitch. One of the things that I've been very blessed with is the fact that I grew up in a musical family. I got into music at a very young age, not only listening to music but performing. I had been singing in choirs and things like that since I was in like kindergarten. My mother used to direct the choir at our church. I started playing the saxophone when I was in the fifth grade. And throughout high school, I played saxophone, two different saxophones, clarinet. I sang in multiple groups. I did show choir. I did musicals, all these different things. And because of that, I have a very large amount of control over my voice. It's taken years, decades even, to get the control over my voice that I have. So, expecting other people to be able to do the exact same things that I can do, and this is the same thing that like Matt Mercer, Liam O'Brien, all those amazing voice actors, they have spent decades learning how to control their voice. However, there are a few shortcuts you can take when you want to expand the range of characters that you play so that they don't all just sound like you. And probably the easiest of which is just modifying the pitch of your voice. Now it sounds deceptively simple. Depending on your specific abilities, the average human voice has a range of anywhere between about 1 octave for those who are what are called tone deaf, where they don't really understand like tone and pitch and things like that. If you've ever stood next to one in church when they're singing, you notice while everyone else is moving up and down, they just get louder and softer depending on the notes. Yes, that's a tone deaf person. I have a very close friend of mine who's tone deaf, which I have perfect pitch, so that's a lovely combination. But anyway, so for like the average human, you have 1, maybe 2 octaves, which is a measurement of pitch. If you've ever seen The Sound of Music, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, that is an octave. So 2 octaves would mean you could do that twice. 3 octaves you can do 3 times. 4 octaves you can do 4 times. Someone like an operatic soprano, soprano singer who sings in an opera, professional, someone like that might have a 3.5 or 4 octave range. Truly amazing singers might have beyond 4 octaves. But again, your average, like trained vocalist, you're looking at about 2 to 3 octaves. Those 2 to 3 octaves can be a massive, massive change. And this is what I mean. When I want to sound gruff, if I want a character I'm playing to sound a little bit stupid, you see Travis Willingham do this all the time when he plays Grog. He drops his voice and then he starts talking like this. I'm Grog, also ale. He adds an accent to it, but you don't actually have to do that. It can be as easy as just going down like this and then using small words, because I don't understand really tough things. But I can break things. I can break things really good. And that's all it really takes. Like I took on a completely different persona from what you would normally think of me just by dropping my voice like that. And the same can be true about speaking in a higher register. If I start speaking like this, some people might expect me to start speaking faster because higher voice might mean higher energy, and then I could do that. Or it might mean that I'm just like a younger person, because in general your voice gets lower with men and women. Your voice gets lower as you get older. So if you're playing a younger character, if you just get a little bit higher pitch, that will kind of differentiate it. And again, these physical changes, these things that force you out of your own comfort zone, are things that are going to help you and help the rest of your body to kind of click into that, oh, I'm playing a character now. The kind of tropes that you can fall into are low is bad, high is good, just in general. The best place to see this, or the worst place to see it, depending on which part you have, if you look at musical theater, good guys are tenors, bad guys are basses. All the time. That's how it works. As far as good guy basses, the good guy basses don't really exist. You have good guy baritones, which is just above a bass. Pitch-wise, they share some notes with a tenor. And you basically have Tevye from Fiddler on the Roof. And that's it. Javert from Les Miserables is a baritone, and he's a bad guy. Valjean is a high tenor. He hits notes that you have to be castrated to hit. Very, very high. And that's how it is. So if you want to use kind of a verbal shorthand, you want to play a bad character or a more seedy character, just lower your voice. And it doesn't have to be nearly as deep as I make mine, because again, I have a very wide range. Even just lowering it a little bit changes it. So now that I'm speaking lower, I can sound a little bit seedier. I can go, well, I can get the job done, but there may be some casualties involved, if you know what I mean. And the same thing is true about modulating a little bit higher. If you want to play a younger character, modulate your voice a little higher. Hi. I'm new here, but I really think that I've got what it takes to be the best, and I can be a really, really good companion for you. And you don't have to go like falsetto or anything, which I'm not going to give an example of, because that uses my sinuses far too often. It'll be very, very painful. But just that slight bit of voice modulation will really change your character, will really change how you feel about your character, how other people feel about your character. The other thing you can do is you can fight against the tropes, which is just as much more fun. You can have a really deep character voice and be the nicest guy in the world. I've met people like this. You call them gentle giants. If you think of the Green Mile and the character that I think it's Michael Clark Duncan. Anyway, lead character in the Green Mile that's not Tom Hanks, the prisoner. He has an incredibly deep voice. And yet he's the nicest person in the world. You can do that. It's like, oh, hi there. You are my best friend. You can have an incredibly intelligent, deep voice. Well, when you look at the quantum singularity and you bring in pi into the equation and then you factor in the tachyons, playing against the trope is just as much fun as going into the trope. And none of these are really negative stereotypes or anything like this, because vocal pitch is not really something that can be stereotyped too much, beyond the fact that, again, in theater, all bad guys have low voices. So play around with it. Have some fun with it. Change the pitch of your voice. For dungeon masters, I know a lot of male dungeon masters that have to play female NPCs that feel very uncomfortable for a number of different reasons. But one of the main reasons is they don't want to make it sound like they're making fun of the character or something like that. And so just modulating your voice up just a little bit. And that's it. That's all you really have to do, and you can play a very convincing female voice. You'll see Matt do this all the time when he plays female characters. You notice he doesn't go into full falsetto. He doesn't, really change a whole lot, other than he just speaks with a higher voice. Because in general, feminine voices tend to be in a higher register than masculine voices. We are masculine people and males are genetically predisposed to be bigger. Bigger means bigger resonating chambers, lower pitch, and larger, longer vocal cords, which means lower pitch. Females tend to have a genetic predisposition to be slightly smaller, smaller vocal cords, smaller resonating chambers, higher pitch voice. So change the pitch of your voice, play around with it, find the pitch that you think fits your character best. And I find that I have the most fun when I'm playing with a trope in a way that people don't expect. The big, deep-voiced, wizard who's incredibly intelligent. You'd think, oh, it's the wizard. They're going to talk like this all the time and have all this. And they're just coming in, hi there. I am Trinabagon, the mighty wizard. Yes, well, if we think about the actual composition of this spell, you have the material components, which, I'll give or take. I generally tend to just use my wand and forget the material components, but then the somatic components are so important, especially when you're using a wand. Things like that are a lot of fun to kind of throw people off and get them to really listen to your character instead of just sitting there going, okay, when it's my turn, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then hopefully everything's going to be dead. All right, so yes, vocal pitch. Give it a shot. In the comments below, I would like to know, first things first, try changing your vocal pitch just randomly in a conversation before it starts and maintaining it through a conversation with anyone, with a coworker, with someone at your D&D table, anything like that. Just try changing your vocal pitch and watch how people react. They'll look at you differently. They'll talk to you differently. And then try it out at the D&D table. Really, play around with your character. Play around with different pitches of your voice until you find one that you go, you know what? This feels right for this character. Because in general, it's not so much going to be a formula of, oh, well, this character is female and they're very excitable, so it has this vocal pitch. It's more going to be, this is what feels right for my character. Because like I said, vocal pitch is not really tied to anything beyond some very broad generalizations of males tend to have slightly lower voices and females tend to have slightly higher voices. And there are so many exceptions to that rule, it's astounding. So because there are no hard and fast rules in real life, there's really no hard and fast rules in D&D as far as the pitch of your voice. Find a pitch that you like. If you like speaking in the same pitch that you normally do, that's absolutely fine. But again, I encourage you, try using a vocal pitch that you are not normally speaking in. Again, it's another way to get you out of yourself and into your character. All right. So in the comments below, let me know, how do people react to the different things. Feel free to share some anecdotes of, oh, well, I played this character and I gave him a really low voice and everybody really loved it. Or, I tried doing a higher voice and my voice cracked, and that became a defining feature of my character. We just, decided that my character was young and had just gone through puberty, and so my voice would crack every so often. It was really funny, and I enjoyed that. Share stories like that in the comments below. Let me know how just changing the pitch of your voice affects how you play your character, affects how other people view your character. As always, if you like this content, if you want to see more tips and things like this, please subscribe to the channel. And if you want to see kind of some practical applications of this, I do DM D&D games every Tuesday nights on my Twitch channel. It's twitch.tv/TrainerJody. You can also follow me on Twitter. I generally tweet about it as well. I'm at TrainerJody there. So yeah, that's all for me today, and I will see you guys next time. Okay, bye bye. Ooh. So you know how that whole high pitch thing, it hurts. Not doing that again.